So we've had another update today, and I thought I'd do a quick fire overview of everything that was added and changed in this update, just so people didn't have to go searching around for everything themselves. So first of all, AC was moved forwards. It was flipped with the scheduling of Siege of Winterfell, just like it was last All-Out War season. This does mean it will be over the festive period. The match timings are listed out here. So there is no overlap with New Year's Day or Boxing Day or Christmas Day at least. It's still not ideal in my opinion, but this is what we have. This does mean that Siege of Winterfell is of course pushed back a ton because you have to account for Ultimate Conquest as well with AC. We've also had more rules of Arena of Honor released. It's too hard to really delve into this too much yet until we can actually get our hands on the event itself, but it's sort of reading somewhere between All-Out War and Army of the Dead, maybe, is how I've somewhat interpreted the rules. You can see the map here is very similar to the All-Out War map, and you can see in some of the text, center of the map periodically launches attacks against all factions that are not allies. Each clan owns a starting castle. The clan castle periodically launches attacks on other clan castles, and then you can see at the bottom the building details as well, and things like the stronghold sort of what's giving me this Army of the Dead vibe, as well as just sending these attacks against all clans simultaneously. But we really will have to wait and see with this to see exactly how it plays, because unless I'm missing something, I'm not even entirely sure if this is RTS gameplay or just normal world style gameplay. I don't know. It will be a effectively 1 hour timed event though, so it will not be something like Ultimate Tournament, which just goes on in the background. Plus that, we've also had some updates to the CCS rewards. So the elimination rewards have been made a bit easier to get on the lower tiers. Now the tiers are distributed a bit more evenly all the way throughout. They've also added these diamonds, gold, grain, and speed ups as well, but they're basically irrelevant. And to max out the Elim rewards, you will now actually need ever so slightly more eliminations as well. They have also added, for the ranking rewards, this second March skin coupon for finishing second, and they've also changed the third place rewards badges from 2 blue badges to 1 purple. So slight buffs all the way around there. Winton weapon was released into the weapon list. I have made a video on this already. It should have gone out just before this one. The TLDR of it is, I think this weapon is terrible because of the 12-second duration of the silence. You're triggering it earlier, but you're very rarely, because of how short the duration of that silence is, actually hit into 2 active casting periods, and reducing the trigger time of the silence can actually be quite counterproductive, so I do not think this weapon is good whatsoever. And the only other thing that was added was Peter Baelish into Greensight, and you'll note up here, boosted total base health. So this is a new stat and a new set of stats actually. We don't know yet how to obtain him. I'm sure it'll be released in due time, but total base stats is very significant for the future of the game realistically. You can see down here, if I go into details, they have added infantry base health, cavalry base health, spearman base health, bowman base health. They've added troop-specific base defense. They have added troop-specific damage taken reductions and damage dealt increases, which is different to anti-counter. And they've also added total base attack and total base defense, as well as a total base health on Baelish, and these flat damage dealt and damage taken modifiers as well. That's a lot of new stats. Base health being added is very interesting. That's going to be a big buff to monotype formations, where you fully buff one unit type with as much attack, as much health as possible. Because right now it's very, very attack dominant in terms of stat weights, because there's so many things to funnel attack stats into, and it just gets further increased by the higher base stats naturally, but also the base attack that players have on their weapons as well. So I think we will see a bit of a resurgence of health, and base health will become a very significant stat, and whales will, as always, just get stronger and stronger and stronger, with total base attack just being a fairly ridiculous stat. I mean, it's becoming quite obvious, I feel like, in recent months, that emphasis on making F5 commanders cheaper has been finding its way into more and more areas of the game, with the selection chests being added to pretty much all recharge events. We had that UC Winners Pack, which was ridiculously cheap. We've had Treasure Hunt have it added, very good efficiency now. I think we're probably starting to reach the point that we saw with SS medals, with F5s, where they're just going to start being handed out cheaper and cheaper. And the new power creep thing is probably going to be green sight and any other ways of obtaining these base stat increases and these damage modifiers as well.